Welcome to the Rockstar Principles Podcast, coming straight to you from Rock and Roll, USA, covering the latest and greatest in educational leadership trends, news, and awesomeness for principals all over the world. Now, here are your hosts, the boss, John Ross, and the doctor of proctors, Nick Indeglio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 3 of the Rockstar Principles Podcast. I'm Nick Indeglio.
And I am John Ross, and we are coming to you from the underground lair of the Ross family. Yes, the basement of my home. Once again, we record our Rockstar Principles podcast from the friendly confines of the Ross home basement, sitting here in front of a television. A little bit of a different setup this week, Nick, from what we've had in the past. We actually had the television on, and what do we have playing here, Nick? What are we watching?
Well, as we're sitting here in John's man cave, we are watching a classic episode of the 1960s series Ultraman. Now, for those of you who don't know, before we get too deep here, Ultraman was the precursor to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The use of old footage and a little bit of new footage and people in latex and or weird costumes fighting monsters. Guess what? That started way back in the 60s with shows like Space Giants, Ultraman, and it was the precursor to everything you see out there today.
And you're much more of a fanboy when it comes to this, Nick, than I am. Basically, I just remember Ultraman being awesome and being absolutely blown away by the special effects as a child of the 70s myself. This was just cutting edge, and I'm watching it now, and I'm thoroughly embarrassed to ever say that I believed this show as a child. We had my 12-year-old son down here a little bit ago. Shout out to my boy, Cameron. And he was not impressed, although he was intrigued as to how I could have ever been impressed by this show. But yeah, there's a little distraction that we're going to have playing in the background here. So just as if we weren't challenged enough to make you entertained, we're going to try to keep your attention maybe by, from time to time, describing what we're watching. And this episode, actually, the Ultraman crew. What are they called again? What are these guys called again?
The Science Patrol.
The Science Patrol, that's right. There's a very complicated term that I forgot. They're on Monster Island, and they're fighting monsters using the spider gun. We've now learned that their guns are referred to as the spider gun, and I believe that's because the gun does 8 different things. It shoots fire, it shoots lasers, shoots just about everything you could want to shoot at someone, I guess.
I sure hope that it is an explanation like that, because otherwise the name Spider Gun has nothing to do with the fact that flames are shooting out of it.
No one really cares anyway, quite honestly. I think you and I are the only ones that would be interested. But if you are listening and you are intrigued at all, there are some Ultraman episodes on YouTube you can find. And my goal actually is to, at some point in my career, get Ultraman trending on Twitter. But I may have to wait. We're up to 200 followers, by the way, Nick, on Twitter, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, we're rocking it.
But maybe when we get a little bit more, I can start my push to get Ultraman trending on Twitter, and we could be solely responsible for a comeback. I see a movie in the works. I got to tell you, this is one movie that hasn't been covered. So,
well, I hate to break it to you, but in Japan, actually, they've made several Ultraman movies since the year 2000.
See, I'm out of my league. I shouldn't talk about things that I have no knowledge. Let's stick to principal topics, okay? I have a little bit more of a knowledge base there. So why don't we lead off this week with our first segment? What are we going to be covering here?
Before we do that, though, in case you are an Ultraman fan or you want to get caught up, YouTube's great. But if your internet browsing history, when your husband or wife is looking at it, they're going to see that you're looking up Ultraman. So perhaps instead you can go onto Amazon or eBay, and for $2.99 you can buy a DVD of the complete series of Ultraman.
Yeah, we forgot to mention that. I'm glad you brought that up. That's actually how we're watching Ultraman, is that Nick was able to procure us a copy of the entire Ultraman series for, you heard him right, $2.99 American. That's an outstanding price for your dollar in this tough economy for full-fledged entertainment for you and your whole family. So I would highly advise you picking up a copy. And if nothing more, you'll get a good laugh watching this, especially when your kids try to figure out why you ever found it entertaining in the least. as I can clearly see the zipper on that costume that guy is wearing right there that's supposed to be a monster. Not to spoil it for anybody, but these things didn't actually exist. But no, come on, seriously. This is not a documentary.
Oh, man.
Before we lose any more listeners, let's get to the reason that we're supposed to be doing these podcasts, Nick. So we got a couple of segments for you this evening that we're going to be covering. What are we going to start off with? Our highlight of the week?
Yeah, we're going to open up with your big experience. This past Monday, you launched into your first no office day, as referenced in last week's podcast episodes, from ASCD's article by Flagelman. And basically, you shut the office door. It was an experience where, secretaries, your calendar was blacked out. And you could follow student schedules, you could go and follow different teachers, and basically just become part of the school community. They say we as principals become disconnected, and this is a chance to reconnect. So first, give us a summary. How did it go?
Well, it was outstanding. It was absolutely outstanding. You know, I try to be visible. I like to think that I'm pretty visible in my building. I would hope that my teachers would support the idea that, you know, I'm in the hallways an awful lot, and I'm in the classrooms quite frequently. But this was a whole nother level of visibility. What I decided to do was selected about 4 or 5 students that I tried to find classes that they had in common. And I went from class to class with them, and they caught on as the day went on. Actually, it was kind of funny. A couple of them accused me of following them, and I had to deny it. But I selected a few of our students. We're calling them our red carpet students this year. They're the kids that we're trying to roll out the red carpet to them, to their families. Let's be honest. There's an achievement gap in our country, whether you're for or against standardized testing, whether you are, for or against No Child Left Behind, A Race to the Top, and I know there's all kinds of issues about all of those that we could spend entire podcasts on. No one can deny that there's an achievement gap in our country, and our school is no different. We have an achievement gap that exists with some of our students in our African American and Hispanic subgroups. So I was one of our goals this year is to try to roll out the red carpet to not only those students but to their families, and try to help them connect better with our school, try to find things that interest them, to gain the family support, to try to get them more interested in what's going on in school, and to try to give them some identification in our building, because we know traditionally those kids feel underrepresented in our school. So I was trying to follow some of those students over the course of the day and see what they experience, and see what some of the classes were like for them, and that was my main objective. And I got to about 2 classrooms per class period, in addition to being in lunch. And I did sit in on 1 team meeting with teachers as well, but I didn't count that as being in the office because that was just something that I needed to do for my schedule. But it was great. It was really, really a great experience to spend some time side by side with the kids. I even got invited back. One of our founding consumer science classes, the kids asked me to come back later on in the week because they were actually cooking the food that they had been talking about, the class where I was sitting in with them. So all in all, it was well worth the time and well worth blocking out my schedule for the day to experience that.
So specifically, just to ask a question, one of the reasons to do a no office day is, like we talked about earlier, to reconnect. Lots of times we get accused as principals, and rightfully so, of being pulled in so many different directions that we forget what it's like being in the classroom. We forget what it's like being a teacher or being a student, what it's like walking through those hallways. So give me one specific thing that maybe stood out to you that was a reminder or just a quick epiphany that said, you know what, I need to focus on this more, pay more attention to this.
Well, and I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, there's a reason why we get accused of forgetting what it's like, and it's because we do. It's been a long time for me. I'm not even going to tell you how many years it's been since I've been in a classroom as a classroom teacher, but it has been a long time. And if nothing else, it was a good reminder for me what it's like to go through the day working with the kids and the challenges, but also the rewards of doing so. And that was kind of the best part of it for me, was getting to see some affirmation of just how much, I wasn't surprised by it, but it was an affirmation for just how much our teachers really do care about our students, how unbelievably hard they work to try to connect with our kids on both an academic level, but also a personal level, and to try to personalize the education. And you can throw around things like differentiated classrooms and reaching kids at multiple levels, homogeneous grouping, heterogeneous grouping, all those different catchphrases. The bottom line is, I'm very fortunate because I have a building of people who genuinely care about children and want to work hard and do everything they can to make the lives of these kids better and enrich them and prepare them for their future. So that for me, even if that was the only thing that would have come out of it, it would have been worth the time, but that was just the best part and the tip of the iceberg, in addition to getting to see the curriculum and, remind myself about some of the things our kids are talking about. And then when I would see the kids in the hallway or in the cafeteria later, it would give me a chance to have a conversation. Hey, I was in your room. I saw that you were talking about, this topic or that topic. One of the groups was having a debate about Frederick Douglass in an 8th grade history class, and I saw kids later on in the cafeteria and had a chance to talk to them about what it was they had been talking about in class. So, again, it's an entire day, and sure, my mailbox filled up, my inbox filled up on my computer, on my laptop, on my phone, was buzzing all day long. But it was well worth it. It was well worth the time and effort that I put into it, and something I'm definitely going to try to do again before the year's out.
All right, well, that's our first opening segment there on our highlight reel. Just for sake of our students and the terminology they used today, I believe the term for what you were doing would have been a creeper. I believe that's what they call us when we're following them around.
Yeah, as I said, I think at a couple of points, kids were definitely giving me a look. They would show up in class and they would see me sitting there and be like, okay, now this is 4 periods today where Mr. Ross has been in the room. And of course, our students being, middle-level students and them being egocentric, that's not a slight. That's just, what the research says, and it's the way it is. They all assumed that I was watching them. So that, I guess, was another bonus. They kind of felt like they were getting a personalized observation done by the principal of their school. I'm sure some of them went home and told their parents that I was in a bunch of their classrooms. So, again, that was another bonus. So, yeah, that was definitely a highlight for me and something that I'm going to try to do again. And I know you had a highlight, Nick, but we're going to save that. We're going to save your highlight for the next episode. What was that? Let's do a little tease for your highlight for the week. You guys did a family fun night, not for your students and their families, but actually for your staff and their families, or was it both?
No, just it was our staff and their families. An attempt to connect, and we'll talk about that during our next episode there. Great time. And as we go to commercial, I'm wondering why there's a purple balloon on.
Well, I was watching that. The spider gun actually shot this balloon out at that monster and tagged him. He seems to be a nicer monster, but they were trying to follow him, and they used the spider gun, and it shot a balloon on a string into this monster, and that helped them chase him through the woods. I was kind of watching that while I was describing No Office Day to you, and I saw that yet another function of the spider gun, is to shoot a tagging balloon at the monster.
This current set looks a lot like Land of the Lost, another classic.
Oh wow, Land of the Lost.
Wasn't one of those monsters, the good-looking monster, the good guy? Wasn't he wasn't there cavemen type things? Or no, those were the bad guys.
Yeah, they were bad guys.
Chaka. Yes. Oh my God. Whoa.
Chaka reference. There you go.
Man, we better go to commercial before we...
We're going to really spiral out of control here. So, as always, our commercial breaks are not real legitimate commercials. They are Nick and I doing our version of commercials of some of the many educational, quasi-educational things that we are fans of. And it's a shameless plug, really. We're hoping that if we plug these things for you, that we can get their attention and maybe they can return the favor and plug us. So, any of our quote-unquote air quote, let me do the rock air quote, sponsors this week. If you enjoyed the commercial we did for you, maybe you could give us a little reciprocal shout out. That'd be nice. All right, commercial number 1. We'll be right back, folks.
And now a word from our fake sponsors. But we'd really love if they were our real sponsors. Seriously, we would love it.
All right, we're going to get it serious for this commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of great podcasts out there in the field of education. I know we get a little goofy at times and just kind of riffing and talking off the top of our head as we find our way around. But there's some that are head and shoulders above us in the world of education that would really be helpful to you. And I want to try to encourage you, if you haven't already, to take a look around at some of the people out there that are just doing outstanding work with podcasts. You know, I'm rambling on here, Nick. I'm having a hard time thinking of anybody right now in the moment. Can you give everybody somebody maybe that they may want to take a look at to give them some leadership, educational ideas maybe out there?
By far, the best educational podcast out there is the Steve Austin podcast.
The Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast?
Yes. Everything education based in the world of professional wrestling you could possibly need to know.
I'm having a hard time. Can you explain exactly what Stone Cold Steve Austin does in his podcast, maybe?
Stone Cold Steve Austin is for the working man, by the working man. He talks to former friends in professional wrestling. He gives tips to those just starting off in the business. He tells road stories. It's hilarious. He brings on guests from all over the entertainment world, talks about his life, talks about all the issues that are pertinent to the working man.
Nick, are you just trying to get on Steve Austin's podcast?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well then, there you go. That's a great one then. That'll help publicize us and
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Fulfill Nick's dream, ladies and gentlemen. Let's all get a hold of Steve Austin on Twitter there and tell him he needs to have Dr. Nicholas Indeglio from the Rockstar Principles on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. Let's make that happen.
Even better. Why don't we get Stone Cold Steve Austin on the Rockstar Principles podcast?
I think your head would explode if we did that.
It would. Yeah. It wouldn't really be relevant to the world of K-12 education at all, but gosh darn it,
We'd find a way. We would absolutely be able to find a way.
I think Steve Austin could talk education.
Have we said your name enough, Stone Cold Steve Austin? Come on. Get us on there. Come on our podcast.
For the working man. By the working man. We'll even do it in Espanol!
You got it. Welcome back to the Rockstar Principles podcast. Anything to say, Nick?
At RCKSTR Principle. That's our Twitter handle. We have a Facebook page. Go to the search on Facebook. Just type in Rockstar Principles. You'll find us there. Our website, search Rockstar Principles, Libsyn, Libsyn, or go to the iTunes store and subscribe to our podcast directly by typing in Rockstar Principles Podcast. We're in the K-12 education section of the iTunes store.
We don't ask for much, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little something to repay us for our time and efforts that we spend hours preparing these episodes for you. So if you could take a look at those things for us, we really appreciate
line, people,
it.
You owe us.
We
are entertaining you.
And we know who you are, the 5 of you that listen to this podcast.
We're making your lives better every moment, every day. It doesn't get any better than the Rockstar Principles podcast. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do for a living. You could be a plumber, and you're going to enjoy what you learn here on the Rockstar Principles podcast. I'm the son of a plumber. My dad was a plumber. He would like this podcast. However, he passed away in 2001, so...
But nonetheless, I'm sure he would thoroughly enjoy it.
He'd love it, I'm sure.
He's listening in a much better place right now. But let's a good segue into a new segment that we're going to have here for you on the Rockstar Principles podcast. This will be the point later on where I'd ask you to cue the music, Nick. This is a segment I like to call the Church of Whitaker. Yes, my congregation, please join me here in the Church of Whitaker, as you have heard before, dedicated solely to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Todd Whitaker. An outstanding human being, someone who I was turned on to many years ago and have tried to follow in any way, shape, or form in my educational career. I am the original founding member of the Church of Whitaker and the first Whitakerian. So please join us for this segment this week as we go through what great principles do differently. One of Todd Whitaker's outstanding books, and he put out a second edition a couple of years ago and increased it to the 18 things that matter most. So what we're going to do in each session of the Church of Whitaker, we are going to talk about one of those 18 things. And here's my goal. By the time we get to number 18, I pledge to you, ladies and gentlemen, we will have Todd Whitaker on the Rockstar Principles podcast.
Bold. That's a bold prediction.
I'm telling you, it is going to happen. I believe that we will have Todd Whitaker on the Rockstar Principles podcast by the time we get to number 18. Brother Nicholas.
John Ross, you do believe that more is better than less, do you not?
I do.
So 10 commandments just isn't enough, is it?
It is not.
15 things that great principles do differently is not enough.
Anybody could come up with 15.
But could they come up with 18 things?
Only one man and that is Todd Whitaker could come up with 18. And so this is what we're going to do. In each episode of the Rockstar Principles, we're going to talk about one of the 18 things that matter most. And if you are a Whitakerian in the Church of Whitaker, I'm sure you will subscribe to these 18 things and do your best to live your life, your professional life at least, accordingly. All kidding aside, not to mock religion at all, I do have a brother who is a priest, and I would not want anyone to think we're mocking religion at all, but Todd Whitaker is just an outstanding leader in education, and we came up with this term, the Church of Whitaker and Whitakerians, as a tribute to him, and hopefully by broadcasting it and buttering up to him, it'll increase our chances of getting him on the show. So let's start with number one. Let's start right from the top. The number one thing that matters most and what great principals do differently, number one, never forget that it is people, not programs, that determine the quality of a school. How can you top that? How can you top that, ladies and gentlemen? I ask you, Dr. Nick. It's people, not programs, that determine the quality of a school. Comment.
Well, I think one of the things we say all the time is, and I guarantee you all the Rockstar Principals say this all the time, that I don't teach math. I don't teach language. I don't teach family and consumer science. I teach kids. Kids is tied directly to people. You teach the individual. You teach the child. We as principals, we don't lead math teachers. We don't lead librarians. We lead people. We lead teachers who teach kids. And if you lose sight of that, you lose sight of everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing that I connect with the most when I think about this is we all know, we've all experienced the flavor of the month mentality in education. How each year there's a new program that's poured on. And we're as guilty of it as anybody, being principals. We come up with things, we find things that we like, things that we enjoy, that we think will connect with our kids, that we think the teachers will benefit from learning. And we pour it on people. And as leaders, we should take things away when we do that, but that's another segment maybe down the road. But my point here being, it doesn't matter what program you have. You can have the most educationally sound, research-validated, empirical data-supported program. If you don't have the right people to implement that program is going to fall flat on its face. It is the people that are implementing it that make the biggest difference in the world of education.
Research shows time and time again, supported once again by the 2013 MetLife survey of the American teacher, the 2012 Wallace Foundation survey. The most important factor in school for achievement is the teacher. The teacher is a person. It's not the program. It's not the curriculum. It's not the iPad. It's not the smartboard. It's none of that stuff. It's the person, the teacher. Principals. Takes about 7 years to reach your highest level of effectiveness in a building. Why is that? I'm speculating, but most likely because it takes 7 years for you to have enough turnover where you're hiring your own people to build the base of that support system, of people who think and follow and believe in the vision, the dream, and then pass that on to the kids. Once again, all people.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Lesson number one, cue the music. In the Church of Whitaker, for all you Whitakerians out there, never forget, it is people, not programs, that determine the quality of a school. We'll be right back.
And now a word from our fake sponsors. But we'd really love if they were our real sponsors. Seriously, we would love it.
Oh, brother, I tell you, I've been having such a hard time getting up in the morning. I don't know, the energy's not there. I'm getting old. The bones are creaking. The muscles are feeling tight.
Hey,
I just don't know what to do anymore to get myself, just charge my batteries every day.
What, did you ever think about trying yoga?
Oh, come on, man. You got to be kidding me. Yoga, Nick. What kind of man does yoga?
I'll tell you what kind of man does yoga. Every kind of man does yoga. In fact, the man does yoga. That's DDP Yoga. Diamond Dallas Page, the master of the diamond cutter, has come up with a unique and revolutionary system of yoga that is dynamic, that gets the blood flowing. It's not static. This isn't your mom's yoga. This is big-time yoga. Now, DDP, this man former WCW World Heavyweight Champion. He didn't become a pro wrestler until he was 35 years old. How did he keep his body fit? He's almost 60 years old now. How is he still a model of precision from a physical specimen? You've got to get DDP Yoga. John, you got to give it a shot. DDP Yoga. Feel the bang! All right, welcome back to the Rockstar Principles Podcast. We're ready to close down this episode. We've talked about a lot of awesome things, totally relevant to the world of education. And as we get ready to wrap things up, we are going to...
Look, there's Ultraman.
Oh, man. He just turned into Ultraman.
I wish you guys could be seeing this. Please go on YouTube, check out Ultraman, do the hashtag Ultraman on Twitter, tell all your friends about it. Absolutely outstanding. Just the special effects for the time period of the 1960s. I'm sorry, Nick. I get into just a spiral of Ultraman and I can't get out of it. What are we going to talk about on future podcasts?
We're probably going to talk about the orange polyester costumes on the Ultraman episodes. I think that's definitely going to have to come up.
Are we going to talk about Sweetzels?
Sweetzels we're going to have some commercials for because we've eaten an entire box of Sweetzels cookies tonight. Remember
Are these all over the country? Spiced wafers, Sweetzels. It's that time of year, folks. Come on. It's almost October. We're in October.
Pumpkin and
spiced You know
stuff.
what I'm talking about.
They used to be in the tin. I used to love them when they were in the tin.
They were.
There.
It's not the same. We were talking earlier. They're a little bit smaller, but they're just as doggone tasty as I remember them as a kid.
Good Lord. One of the segments we're going to talk about soon was one of the chat topics on Twitter this past week. I think it was at EdChat or IA EdChat, one of those.
Yeah.
Back to school nights, and John's got some killer ideas for next year's back to school nights.
Why, thank you, Nick.
Yeah, but we're not going to give it away.
No. We'll just tell you that we already do an unconventional back to school night, I would say, in the format that we have our back to school nights now. And if we haven't mentioned it before, next year our two middle schools are going to go from being 6th, 7th, and 8th grade to just 7th and 8th grade. So we're tossing around a few ideas as to how we'd like to do back to school night in a 7-8 building. We'll talk more about those in future episodes.
And aside from that, we're going to look at safety, big topic in the country now. From the beginning of school, we've had at least 3 different incidents that have involved, national safety and concerns.
Okay, Ultraman is now using the monsters. Yeah, he ripped the wing off of this monster, and he's now using the wing as a cape, and the monster is acting as the bull. Just absolutely amazing.
So essentially,
we can't top that. You can't top that, really. I think we should wrap it up.
A 60s show from Japan, dubbed into English, with the main character pretending to be a Mexican matador.
Wow, that's multicultural right there.
Yeah, there you go, Mark. There's our multicultural plug for the day. You can work that into your lessons this week.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining the Rockstar Principal Podcast. Keep on rocking.
Thanks for helping RSP top the charts in the Edu podcast world. Keep it real with Twisted Steel and School Appeal.